tankinis, bikinis, monokinis. Walmart is the best kept secret for stylish summer swimwear. Make a splash with hot summer essentials like beach bags, sandals, and more. Find your style at Walmart.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hey, everybody. Goo, 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 ga, ga, ga. Here for a quick intro. We're about to get into an episode that I think holds a place in a lot of people's livers. Jenny, why don't you kick us into sexy gear with the results from last week's sexual tension poll?
That's the only gear with which I'm intimately familiar. In fact, let me tell you what happened last week. What an intense heat.
Yeah.
This is like almost neck and neck and neck. It's very close.
Four necks, truly.
Yeah, it's more of just like a gentle slope than a staircase this week. In fourth place with 17% of the vote, we've got Mulder and military planes built using UFO technology.
Honestly, I deserve a special award just for fitting that via emojis into the poll length requirements.
And I salute you.
Thank you.
Get yourself a man who will hold a hamburger and fly it around in the air like a UFO with 26% of the vote. It's Emil and Zoe.
Hell yeah.
My God. This is truly incredible. I can't believe it's only the second episode, and, you know, who I'd consider the headliners are already receiving a serious challenge. Mm-hmm. With 28% of the vote in second place, it's two Tinkerbell UFOs. Swooping and gliding through the night sky, defying the laws of physics, as they are wont to do. Incredible. Congrats to them. Honestly, it feels like a win.
It does. I mean, honestly, are the two Tinkerbell UFOs Mulder and Scully anyway? And did they actually take, the lion's share of the vote?
Yeah. And winning by only 1% with 29% of the vote in first place. It's fan faves. The mothership, Mulder and Scully.
I need to get an air horn because that's what I felt in my soul. Congratulations. We'll be actually just adding 1 inch to the Sexual Tension Award trophy every time you win. So you'll just get a mega trophy at the end of the series.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little 2-foot tall trophy at the end of season 1.
Jenny, just a quick nod to some of the very fun emails that we got pertaining to our question of what are the first 2 items you think of when you think of Spencer gifts.
Yes.
For those of you who didn't listen last week, I think Jenny's was lava lamps and black lights. Mine was the thing that has a bunch of little nails that you put your hand on and it makes an imprint. And the little thing with 6 silver balls that click, clack back and forth. Mine were the 2 hardest to describe items that Spencer did. Some other items from you all. Whoopee cushions and furry gloves. Agree. Glow-in-the-dark stars that stick on your wall. And one of those weird liquid-filled cylindrical things that slips through your hands. It's lime green with glitter inside. We all can feel it in our hands. Honestly, probably the model for Toombs's little squishy squeeziness, It's like Toombs
looking
is
like a sea cucumber.
Yeah. The party ball thing with all the colored lights on it. Astronaut ice cream.
Ooh.
Fuck yes. And the clear phone where you could see all the wires.
There were 2 more things, Kristin, that I wanted to let you know about, just in case you missed them when you were a youth. One was just like a very wide array of like semi-erotic greeting cards. It would be like a sexy cowboy with no shirt and a cowboy hat. And it's like the card makes it look like if you open it, you're going to see something
See his underwear area, as you like to refer to it.
Yeah, his bathing suit area.
His bathing suit area.
But then you open it up and it's like, a joke about how you're old instead. Haha, gotcha. So there were like a bazillion of those. And there were also blow-up dolls in the shape of a human, but then also one thing that I remember specifically buying for somebody as a birthday present, blow-up sheep. blow up love sheep.
Oh my God. Oh, and please, I would be remiss not to mention the fact that on social media, we got a lot of feedback as well. And one of those things was the candy G-string.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, just iconic. If you did not buy a candy G-string for someone in your life in the 90s, I don't know what you were doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we could have a whole podcast about items at Spencer Gifts.
That's right.
Instead, we're going to get into it. And Jenny, we have a special guest who's right around the bend for us, don't we?
We really do, and I'm so excited.
Down a chimney to get here.
Yeah, there's no nook, cranny, or crevice he wouldn't work his way into to join us here on the pod.
And he has a special title for this week's episode. Why don't we let him tell you what that title is before we roll in?
Yes, friend of the pod and friend of our hearts, Hrishkesh Hirway, how would you refer to your appearance on this week's episode? Tell us.
Tomb's coming.
Why would I make them so uncomfortable?
It probably has to do with your reputation.
Reputation? I have a reputation?
Mulder, look, Colton plays by the book and you don't. They feel your methods, your theories are...
Spooky? Do you think I'm spooky?
Hello, and welcome to the X-Files. That's the eX-Files, a buffering rewatch adventure where we're watching and discussing every episode of the X-Files one by one, spoiler-free. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, ex-wife of Kristin Russo, and I grew up watching the X-Files.
And I'm Kristin Russo, ex-wife of Jenny Owen Youngs, and I've only seen 3 episodes of the X-Files. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 3, Squeeze.
Squeeze was written by Glenn Morgan and James Wong and directed, in maybe air quotes, more on that later, by Harry Longstreet. It originally aired on September 24th, 1993.
This is the one, according to IMDb, where Mulder and Scully search for a humanoid killer whose savage murder spree reoccurs. It's like seeing that word. It's like recurs. Is it reoccurs? Every 30 years. Someone must be here to help me with how you say that word.
If only there were a tall, handsome man with broad shoulders and a rich, sonorous voice, velvety and bold. Is there anyone like that on the recording?
Hello, I'm Hrishkesh Hirway. I am currently married by common law to both Kristin and Jenny.
Correct.
Is that just so we can divorce you at the same time and you can become the official third host of
That's
the
right.
X-Files?
Yes.
Actually, Kristin, bombshell, Hrishi sent me a screenshot of our text messages from July 2020 in which I formally pitched that we each leave our respective relationships temporarily so that we could make a podcast called The X-Files.
Wow,
It is
love.
True. July 2020.
Incredible.
Let me read
Love to
the,
learn that I was the second choice, even though I was the first ex-wife.
Well, at the time, I couldn't imagine Buffering the Vampire Slayer ever being over.
That's fair.
Ever being complete.
Hrishi, welcome.
Thank you so much. Let me read this infamous text to you. Hrishi, do you want to pause our respective relationships, briefly date each other, no touching, and then make the X-Files podcast, or what?
And he never texted me back, actually, for the last 2.5 years.
Wow, this is the first time you guys
No
have spoken
response.
since.
This is me. I'm here to say I'm in.
Oh, hell yeah. What timing?
Well, as the first person asked to be the co-host of this podcast and as the first official guest of this podcast, I think that you're just your family forever at this point, Hrishi.
It is an honor. And I would go with reoccurs.
Reoccurs?
Spelled this way, yeah. Because recurs is a different spelling, different word.
No O. No,
Right.
no double C. Is it?
True.
We don't have to get it. It's fine.
It's much like my life and TV in the early 2000s. Take that OC out of there.
Oh my god. I now have known you long enough that I know from the first 2 to 3 words of a sentence if you're just setting it up to knock it down.
And you got that sense?
Oh yeah.
Sidebar, Hrishi, I've never seen the OC, so it's something we can talk about at a later time. Well, off the mic, you know?
Yes. Peace be with you, my sister.
Okay, so for our sensitive listeners, we like to start every episode with a scary rating. Usually, producer LaToya Ferguson provides this on a scale of 1 to 5. However, for this episode, she was so filled with seething rage when she saw that Doug Hutchison was part of this episode that she was too angry to be scared for once.
Yes, while Toombs might be a fictionalized green-eyed liver eater, unfortunately, the actor who plays Toombs has done some really problematic shit in real life. We're not going to get into the detail here in pod, but notably, he married Courtney Stodden when Courtney was 16 and he was 51. And in recent years, Courtney has spoken publicly about the gaslighting and the grooming that shaped that relationship.
You're on the right track when you'd rather talk about someone eating livers in a TV show than what they got up to in real life.
Yes.
So, it's up to us, me, Kristin, and Hrishi, to come up with a scary rating. On a scale of 1 to 5 ripped out livers, how scary was this episode?
Also, LaToya did give us the system. She just refused to participate in it. She
just this once.
She did come up with ripped out livers as our unit of measure for this one.
Oh my gosh.
Hrishi, you should go first.
I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5 ripped out livers. There is a moment in the episode where I actually physically jumped. A jump scare, accurately named.
I can't wait to find out where you jumped.
We should guess, Jenny, don't you think?
Okay. My guess is when Toombs reaches out of the floor level air vent in Scully's house, towards her ankles.
That is
Hrishi's
exactly the moment.
Nodding. Okay.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, Jenny, what do you got?
I'm trying to take into consideration that I've seen this episode a zillion times. And also it imprinted on me when I was a child. Mm-hmm. So how do I rate this? Do I rate this as an adult? Do I rate it as somebody who's... I'm trying to be objective. I think that this episode has power. I think that conceptually it's in a really intense place. And I feel given the limitations, budgetary, the filming difficulties that we'll get into in a little bit, and also just it was 1993. I think they did a great job of making it creepy as hell. I'm happy to give it 4.5 out of 5 ripped out livers. No cutting instrument was used. Kristin?
All right. Here's the thing. I agree with everything that you said. I think it's a fucking great episode in a million ways. But I've never seen it before. And I had everyone in the universe being like, oh, wait till you get to episode 3. It is going to scare the shit out of you. It's so terrifying. So I went in ready to be like, is this going to keep me up at night scary? And I'm going to go 3.5 out of 5, which is pretty high for me because I'm a scary movie girl. I like to be afraid. I have a high tolerance. So I think 3.5 out of 5 ripped out livers from me.
Oh, that is a good caveat. I should qualify my 4 out of 5 with the information that I am a scaredy cat and I don't watch horror, and even things that are just sort of suspenseful, I do use the watch through my fingers method. as discussed on this very podcast.
Yeah, I'm surprised this only got a 4 out of you, given that you watched conversations with dead people through your fingers.
Yeah, I was concerned for you too, Hrishi.
I think the supernatural stuff scares me a little bit more. This is arguably somewhere between, the serial killer world and the supernatural world, which is why it's such a compelling X-File. But I think in general, the sort of demons and ghosts stuff I find scarier than the evil people, though, logically I should probably be scared more by the monsters that are people.
Yeah, but like we already have those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We already have hard proof of those.
It seems like Toombs has a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B for you. He's really just a sampler platter of evil and supernatural. Also, I think the rating, like for me, the rating is the episode whole, but there are moments in this episode that get 5 out of 5 ripped out livers. When he slithers down,
like when he's ripping out a liver, for example.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Toombs, we are to believe, did get 5 out of 5 livers by the end of this episode.
Almost. He almost did. He was aiming for them, but Scully was he didn't get his quota this time.
Did you see how he looked at that? We'll get there. But yeah, the way he slithered down the chimney is my 5 out of 5 moment. That was the moment for me that I was like, oh, this is creepy good shit.
Yeah. Part of what makes that moment so good is that there's no special effects.
Oh yeah, they hired a contortionist to do the the vertical
scene.
Drop in.
I didn't know that. I did.
Kristin, when you're looking
research
up at the opening of the chimney and his arm is literally stretching, that is a special effect.
Yes,
yeah. That is.
But I didn't realize that they had a contortionist like fitting into the little space.
Yeah, the part where you see his feet go down into the chimney. There's that shot of him, and there's the bones snapping and things as he's like slithering his way down. That's real. That's practical. That's a real person who's doing that.
Yeah. They also selected their angle to make it look a lot narrower than it actually is as well. But it's
cool.
all practical between like that person's performance and the directorial choice.
Amazing.
I'm so excited to hear what you thought of this episode, Kristin, as a first-time viewer of it.
I loved it. Clearly I've only seen 3, but I texted Jenny and I was like, oh, this is my favorite episode so far by like leaps and bounds.
Wow.
And we had a whole conversation, which I think is very relevant to some of your thoughts on the series, about the fact that this is considered more a like monster of the week episode rather than a large myth arc episode. And from what I gathered, the two of you are very opposite opinions on which are the better.
No, it's not so much that I want to say, because I know that Jenny really likes the Monster of the Week episodes. It's that my attachment to the X-Files kind of originated in the long arc storyline. Back in 2000, I think, or maybe it was 1999, some long gone era. Whenever the third season of the X-Files had been released as a DVD box set, my sister Priya and I spent part of my like school break one December watching a lot of X-Files. She had the DVDs for seasons 1, 2, and then 3 because she'd gotten it as a Christmas present from our family friend, an auntie who would always give DVD box sets for a while. And it started with her giving X-Files DVDs to my sister because my sister loved the X-Files so much. And she had seen a lot of them, and I'd caught a few episodes here and there, but I wasn't really a dedicated viewer the way my sister was. There's an Entertainment Weekly issue that came out around the premiere of season 3, I think, that has Mulder and Scully on the cover. I believe it's like a silver cover, and they're looking very glamorous. And in that Entertainment Weekly issue, they did a breakdown of all of the episodes of all of the episodes of Freudian slip, all of the episodes of the X-Files up until that point, with a little summary of each episode and a little key that indicated what kind of episode it was. Like they had a little flying saucer, or it had a little like, I think vampire, or like something to indicate a monster. Different kinds of like this iconography to show what kind of episode it was. Anyway, my sister and I were interested in like settling down and watching a whole bunch of episodes together. It was my first experience binge watching anything. And we used the Entertainment Weekly guide to go through and watch, like in a kind of true binge watching way that, that we're used to now, where there's like a cliffhanger and a cliffhanger and a cliffhanger. We decided to just go through and watch all of the long arc myth episodes one after another and skip all the Monster of the Week ones because it was, too much to take a break from what the next chapter in that story was going to be.
Wow. Did you feel that, like, was it continuous enough in its story for you not to be confused?
Yes. Yeah. It felt pretty natural. I don't think that there was enough stuff covered in the Monster of the Week episodes that we ever felt like, what's going on? Also, my sister had already seen all of these episodes.
Right.
So
she could fill in the blanks.
She probably could have filled in stuff. But I remember we started in the evening. I remember my mom came out at 5 a.m. or so, in her nightgown, already, terrible idea. Came out in her nightgown, and robe and looked at us and just like immediately, she was just like, in Marathi, she said, "What do you think you're doing? Have you lost your minds? Do you know what time it is?" And instead of being like, "Whoa, sorry," I immediately like snapped back. I said, "Mom, I'm only here for like 6 days, and this is one of the only times I get a chance to spend time with my sister, and we're spending quality time together, and if this is how we want to spend it, it should be okay."
Yes. Mothers, let your children spend quality time together and also quality time with Special Agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully simultaneously, please.
That's why season 1 of the X-Files really has such a special place in my heart. It just fondness based on nostalgia and all the stuff. But as a result, it was a very long time before I saw the rest of the episodes of season 1. And so I've only seen Squeeze, I think, once before.
Wow.
Jenny, any additional Monster of the Week v. Large Myth arc thoughts from you? I specifically asked too because producer LaToya Ferguson also was like, can someone explain to me like how this episode isn't a part of the larger myth arc? So
Right. Because LaToya was talking about like, well, it does have a lot to do with how Scully is viewed by other people in the FBI, like at the Bureau, and, like how all of that kind of like intersects. And of course, the myth arc episodes like are, heavily intersecting with the government and the FBI. But the way that I think about it, and, it's been a handful of years since I rewatched a good chunk of this show. So like, I'm prepared to adjust as needed as we go. But what I would say to LaToya or anybody else wondering is that like, if you're watching an episode and there are like aliens and we're talking about the government and maybe like UFO, like 2 out of 3 of those, like what's the government doing about aliens? What's the government potentially doing with UFO technology? And how are they maybe trying to keep Mulder and Scully away from information having to do with those things? And it'll expand as we move forward. Cool. But like, if you take episodes 1 and 2 and compare them to Tombs, I feel like not only were we getting like beginning of series expositional downloads, Mulder went to Oxford and is a profiler. Scully is a medical doctor, but she never practiced. She just joined the FBI. Mulder's sister disappeared when he was 12 and she was 8. We're like getting all of that stuff. And then all of the like, here's what happened at Roswell. And did you know that like parts from UFOs were allegedly shipped to 6 different sites? Like stuff like that. Space and the government, and how are they coming together? And what's Mulder trying to do about it and being prevented from doing? To me, that's where we are in terms of like myth arc stuff. Whereas you get Tombs and it feels, kind of a lot more like an episode of Buffy in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like it's simpler, it's more contained. It's a more sort of like clear and present evil.
One thing that is a little bit of connectivity is, his name is Eugene Toombs, so technically he is an E.T.
Hrishi.
Holy shit, Hrishi! I just screamed so loud that I heard my voice like echo off the wall, which is probably not great for audio recording purposes.
Jenny, you really do know. You were shaking your head right when I started the sentence.
We're too close. I
was like, oh, did she already think that this was? Did she already realize this about Eugene's name? But you didn't. But you knew I was going somewhere with it.
Yeah, I knew you were up to no good.
I love that, like, your response, Jenny, is like, eye roll, oh, Hrishi. And I'm like, holy shit, that is wild.
Both can be true. Both can be true.
These are the kinds of notes that I kept while watching.
Oh, my God. Listen, my notes this episode are unhinged.
Then my, like, number one through line type of note is how... Okay, Hrishi, last episode we learned that as of last episode, Chris Carter called Dana Scully's wardrobe, quote, a work in progress. Episode 3 is here and ding, the oven has finished. She is cooked. She looks so outrageously good in every single scene. And that's not like necessarily what we're here to talk about, but like, isn't it?
I'll give you a little Lindsay report. My wife Lindsay watched this episode with me, and we watched the first 3 episodes together, and throughout all of them, but I think especially this episode, she kept on saying, look how cute she is.
Yes.
Hell yes, Lindsay.
Yes. I was thinking about Lindsay while I was watching, thinking, I bet Lindsay thinks Dana Scully is pretty cool.
I understand that it's a television show, so clearly it's about like figuring out wardrobe and like solidifying looks. But I want you to know that my headcanon is that Mulder and Scully are both looking so great in this episode, and it's because they've now had 2 episodes together and they're trying to impress each other. That's how I've written it. So,
okay, in Baltimore, a creepy golden-eyed freak is watching from a storm drain as a man in a suit walks by, just minding his own damn business.
I know the last episode was called Deep Throat, but really, this guy needs to get his mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, I'm just going to call the police in Los Angeles really quick. I'll be right back.
So this is Toombs vision, right? Like I've referred to it in my notes as Toombs vision. That's throughout the episode, and we get the first of it in this scene where it's like not in color / kind of. It's like one of those like black and white photos that like I don't know our parents maybe got, where like the roses that the little boy is holding are like colored in pink. You know what I mean? Is that just
we
my mom?
have different parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, Kristin, your parents are women who I went to school with and had posters on their dorm room walls.
Fair. Honestly, basically, yes.
Yeah, isn't that like what the cover of the Twilight books are like?
Oh, yeah. Yes, actually.
So this is like predator vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a variation on like romance vision. The rest of the world falls away, slips into black and white, and the liver vessel that is on the future menu remains in vibrant color. How exciting. Find someone who looks at you the way that Eugene Toombs looks at liver vessels.
That's a body coming to bring him a special delivery.
Oh, no.
So I have a practical question, right? This guy goes up to his office, which is somewhere above the first floor, and, he's working late. He's there by himself, and we see the elevator doors open, revealing just elevator cabling. And the cabling is moving, and the implication is like, oh, some stretchy freak is climbing up that cabling. At least that was my interpretation. My question is, why are the elevator doors open? Can anyone explain this to me?
That's the first X-File.
Yeah.
We're gonna be opening up some sub files.
I actually have a sub file later. Don't worry.
Oh, great.
The thing that I screamed about in this scene, you'd think it would be many gruesome things, but it was actually the fact that this man has a snow globe and inside of it is a globe. Like it was a globe inside of a globe. It thrilled me to no end. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. And if you were to zoom in close enough on that globe, you would find that man's house. And inside his house, you'd find another snow globe. And in that snow globe, another globe.
Oh my God, that made me feel almost as terrified inside as when Jenny told me she had never woken up from her dream a couple episodes ago.
A witch put the globe inside a snow globe and put it in that man's house.
That's the last clip in the zoom in is just a witch picking it all up and putting it in Jenny's nightgown.
All right.
Okay. Little fingies. Go ahead. Let's talk about little fingies.
Little grubby fingers poking out of this friggin' air vent, unscrewing the screws from the inside, as you do when you're a stretchy little freak. This was the stuff of my nightmares as a child.
Yeah, very cool, like the evil you can't keep out, overarching vibes. You can't put up bars, you can't set an alarm system. This little freak will get in anywhere.
Yeah, what's your option? Like that kind of security glass that has like chicken wire inside of it?
Glass and chicken wire. Yeah, I was confused about why he couldn't get out of handcuffs. Does it like take him a minute to work up to stretching?
I too was confused about that, but I'm thinking maybe he doesn't want to demonstrate his little abilities in front of not civilians, but non-liver eaters.
Fair.
Yeah, I had the same question, and I just assumed somebody was going to be looking at him the whole time, so in case he tried to make a move,
right,
they'd stop him. But yeah, I was like, doesn't this seem like a poor strategy for a contortionist?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it must be very convenient to have supernatural abilities when you also happen to be a serial killer cannibal. Like the combination of these things is so fortuitous. Or the fact that he has the abilities turned him into a serial killer cannibal.
Or he was a serial killer cannibal and something he ate along the way gave him supernatural powers.
Oh. He got that vitamin stretchy.
I don't want to get too deep into Kristin's crystal ball yet, but yeah.
He ate another serial killer cannibal and got his superpowers.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the way to do it, like Highlander style.
All inside of a globe, inside of a globe, inside of a globe.
Yeah. Or like Attack on Titan, which I'm guessing is maybe even too nerdy for Jenny to have watched yet.
Correct.
The most devastating and brutal, violent show I've ever seen, an animated show. But in it, there are characters where when they eat another character, they also gain that character's abilities.
Nice.
Wow. Oh, I'm just thinking about what abilities I would absorb if I sneakily ate Hrishi.
I was like waiting to see who she was going to eat.
Good thing we established the no touching rule already.
Yes, correct.
I'm safe.
But think about how rich my baritone voice and how full my beard would become.
Hey, aren't you all a little bit sad that Agent Tom Colton didn't get eaten by Eugene Toombs at any point? Wouldn't that have been the ultimate, comeuppance for that guy?
This fucker.
That would have been satisfying. This guy sucks.
Yeah, he reminds me of in the iconic film Dirty Dancing, the guy Robbie, who gets Penny pregnant and is like, fuck off, and just wants to keep up appearances. Like, it was the immediate thought that I had as soon as Tom Colton opened his stupid mouth was Robbie from Dirty Dancing. Hate that guy.
This is guy's played by Donald Logue, and so all I could think about was all the things that I love Donald Logue in, and what a baby he is here. Although I had also seen him in Sneakers, in which he's also a baby, playing Dr. Gunter Janek. Janek actually is how they pronounce it in the movie. Janek, he's the cryptographer guy. Have you either of you seen Sneakers?
No.
Haven't had the pleasure.
Sneakers is amazing. Amazing. Such one of the... I love it so much. It holds a very special place in my heart. It's from 1992. Listen to this cast. It's crazy. Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier.
What?
Wow.
David Strathairn, and like not even worthy of being on the poster, way down on the list is baby Donald Logue.
Wow.
It's so great. Okay, that's enough on Sneakers, but that's the first time I saw Donald Logue.
And LaToya gave a giant cheer for this character actor as well. Her specific note was, character actor Donald Logue is here. Yay. Character actor Doug Hutchison is here. Boo. Fair.
The dichotomy.
I texted Jenny during this scene at the restaurant, and I said, so far, the scariest thing about this episode is that Scully is flirting with someone who is not Mulder, and I am mad. What the fuck, Scully? Why?
Is she flirting, or is she just catching up with an old pal?
My second viewing, I decided that she simply is trying to get on the good side of folks that can help her figure stuff out. And for that I'm here for. But the first time I watched it, it felt like flirting to me. And A, I was upset because Mulder is here. And B, I was upset because this guy is such a jerk.
I like the idea of Kristin imposing like Mike Pence rules on Scully. Mike Pence's, rule that
she shouldn't have lunch with other men.
Yeah, he can't dine alone with other women. And so similarly, this is a violation.
What's a violation is the amount of gel in Tom Colton's hair.
1,000%. Oh, so this is also the scene where apparently I was texting everyone during this scene. Oh, no, I wasn't texting Hrishi. I tweeted, which is the same thing as texting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I tweeted asking about, Colton says, if you haven't had any close encounters of the third kind. And I was like, wait, hold up. What is the first and the second kind? Hrishi, you had an opinion. Do you want to share with the class what your response was?
Is that right? If what did you said? What are close encounters of the first and second kind, though? And I said, I think first is kissing and second is under the shirt.
So close encounters of the third kind is finger banging?
Yep. That's literally the first thought that I had. Yep.
Well, that's why the stick, the
stretchy
fingies.
The fingies. Oh, shit. Extending my Kristin gets really excited about believing even more in extraterrestrials jaunt. Do you know about the first and second kind and like who came up with the system? Either of you?
Who came up with the system?
I would love to know.
So this astronomer at Ohio State University, this guy, J. Allen Hynek, he was an advisor to the Air Force and the director of Ohio State University's Macmillan Observatory. And the Air Force came to this guy to help it investigate UFOs. And he, in his research, went from skeptic to someone who said there might be something to all of this. And he's the one who came up with the classification. And the close encounters of the first kind is you spawn something in the sky, it leaves no evidence. You saw it and you're telling other people, I saw it. The second kind is a UFO leaves a physical trace of some kind, burns on the ground, broken branches.
Mm-hmm.
And
crop
the third,
circle.
Yep. And the third kind is you make contact with a UFO. You see some alien pilot aboard one or other life form. Like you actually see the alien, you actually touch the UFO. This is, I guess, the biggest of all encounters.
Wow.
Touch the UFO.
If you can touch it, it's third kind.
Have you seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I haven't, but after reading about this, clearly, like when I Googled it, that was the first thing that came up. And I was
Right.
like, oh, we need to have like a whole series of like watching fun alien movies, you know?
Yeah, and maybe you could just throw sneakers in.
Yeah. Perfect.
So Tom Colton has an out there case. He's telling Scully that, you know, some kind of serial killing is happening. The victims vary in age, race, and gender. LaToya was quick to point out, footage not found. Everyone is white. Everyone in this entire episode is white. So very white. The man that was murdered in the office was actually, his door was locked from the inside. And every victim has had their liver ripped out, and no cutting tools were used. Just bare-handing. Just going in, straight-fingered, grasping the liver, and yanking it out.
Can one of our like mathematician, scientist, physicist people that listen to this let us know what this is? Sorry, I just want to know, like, what force would you have to like push your hand through another person's stomach? Is that possible? Right?
Do we want to know? Actually, is this a question we want to ask?
But this is one of the superpowers that isn't really dwelled on later in the episode. You know, like we got the stretchy guy aspect, but the sheer strength or like weird, you know, razor blade fingertips or something that it would require to do that never kind of gets explored.
Oh, if you can stretch your fingies really long, can you also make them really pointy?
Yes. But again, it would have been good to see that. I was wondering actually, I was like, how is he unscrewing the screw from the inside? But he could have made it into a little Phillips head on the other side.
Oh my God. Suddenly, like, Toombs is just go-go gadget, you know? He's
yeah, exactly. You had mentioned early in the pilot episode of this podcast about the similarities between Scully and Clarice Starling. And I thought the eating of the liver really brings the Silence of the Lambs into this show in an even more profound way.
Though I would argue that Hannibal Lecter is many things, but one of them is a gentleman. And he would never behave like Toombs.
In Defense of Hannibal Lecter by Jenny Owen Youngs.
He would simply never make a bile-nest.
No.
It wouldn't happen. Tom Colton, this little shit, he wants Mulder's opinions and help, but he doesn't want to ask for it. He doesn't want to be connected with Mulder in any way. So he's like, Scully, maybe you could help me out. And if, you know, you're hanging out with that guy that you're always hanging out with, maybe he could come by too, I guess. Whatever, no big deal. Wait, does Tom Colton have a crush on Mulder?
Have you ever met an FBI agent so deeply insecure?
I've never met an FBI agent that I'm aware of.
I met one time.
I meant, you know, on screen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. They're usually much more comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love this take though. That his whole angle is like just getting closer to this guy who's like really, really spooky, but he just wants to be near for some reason.
Of course, you like the sexual tension take.
Always.
Yeah.
Very dependable.
And Tom thinks if he can crack this case, he'll get a bump up the ladder. And then he says to Scully, maybe you won't have to be Mrs. Spooky anymore. So what? He gets a bump up the ladder and then she can be Mrs. Tom Colton instead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scully doesn't need you, sir, to ascend.
Petition for Mrs. Spooky Mulder t-shirts in the Buffering a Rewatch Adventure store. Thank you.
It does seem
Could you also make one
unavoidable
for me that says Mr. Dana Scully?
Yes.
Or Mr. Medical Doctor. Heard that's her Christian name.
Yep.
Okay. Oh my God. Everyone, please brace yourselves. At the crime scene, Scully is wearing this light blue shirt and it's buttoned all the way up, and her cross necklace is on under the collar, but on the outside of the buttons, but like very close to her throat. And then she's wearing this black cardigan over it, and she looks outstanding. She looks amazing. I almost want to get murdered so that she would come investigate. You know what I mean?
That's true fandom.
This is like, I mean, Mulder in this episode is my favorite Mulder so far. Granted, I only have 3 on the books, but his like messing around with Colton / anyone else is delightful to me. And this like Colton being like, oh, is it a little green men? And him just being like, it's actually gray. Due to iron depletion, the reticulum galaxy, they need livers. So delicious. So good.
A subtler troll. Did you guys happen to notice that Mulder is wearing like a latex examination glove, and he shakes Colton's hand with the glove, and it like makes this like latexy noise. It's so good.
Oh my God. Incredible. Yeah, and we find our first stretchy fingerprint. I was so excited because this is in our logo, and like when we made the X-Files logo, the eX-Files logo, Jenny had to pick out all of the iconography that went in it because like I didn't know. And so to be able to tick, I have sunflower seeds, and now I also have stretchy fingerprint and kind of a cigarette ashtray with the cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just very happy playing my little private game of bingo with our logo.
Yeah, yeah, you're collecting them all.
Yeah.
Tremendous news. Incredible news. Everyone, Mulder happens to already have an X-File kicking around featuring murders from both 30 and 60 and maybe even 90 years ago with long, stretchy fingerprints involved. Incredible.
This doesn't count as a slideshow, right? Like, because it's just on the light board. The slides are just on the board. It doesn't count.
Yeah, no. Okay. This is not a slideshow. We're going to need a little handheld clicker, and we're going to need a monologue for it to count.
Perfect.
Mulder says, what's the first thing we learned at the academy? That every fingerprint is unique. Did they not know that before they went to the academy? I'm worried.
All right. So kind of like off to the races. I think more quickly in this episode than episodes to date than the first 2, where like Mulder's like, we're doing our investigation and they can do ours. Like, we're going to do our private little thing. And then Scully starts typing on her computer. I was like, what time is it? We just got here. She's already writing up a report.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. Cue the Sex and the City theme. Clickety clack, clickety clack. Scully's working on a profile, right, to help them find this person. And she's firing all kinds of stuff off. Above average intelligence, maybe hiding in plain sight, posing as a delivery or maintenance worker. Notably, she leaves out the part about the really long fingerprints. That's her choice. And then she says the liver possesses regenerative qualities. It cleanses the blood, and she sees him taking the liver as him kind of like cleansing himself, which I thought was a really great guess and not right. Carry on.
Sounded like some Kristin's crystal ball shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, I respect her, but it seemed like a far reach.
She is not the agency's #1 profiler.
No, she's second at best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she does make a suggestion that really pays off in a little bit. She thinks that the killer might get frustrated when he can't find a victim and will return to the site of a previous kill to relive the excitement.
Also, she says that the killer is probably between 25 and 35 years of age. And she's both right and wrong.
And wrong. Incredible.
Truly.
But I love that she gets that right on the surface of things.
Oh, I'm skipping ahead, but I also love how Mulder is so down to say that she's right. You know, later on.
Yes. Yeah.
Very
I'm sure
hot.
we'll talk about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know what
I'm sure
it
we'll
takes
talk about
to do that? Security.
Yes,
like
correct.
personal confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah, you can't imagine Colton giving somebody else credit.
No, definitely not. I'm going to give credit to yet another unbelievable Scully ensemble. In this conference room, she is wearing a light gray suit jacket over a black crisscrossy blouse, and it just is perfect. I don't usually do this the whole frigging episode all the way through, but it's just like 100 after 100. You know what I mean?
I love the buttoned up to the top shirt choices. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jenny, I'm so delighted that you are losing your mind over Scully, because like I felt like maybe I would be the one in that role primarily, and I'm stoked that you're losing
No.
for every
I'm
outfit.
All in. Are you kidding? Please.
This parking garage I refer to as one artsy parking garage. What are all these holes? There's just decorative art holes in the parking garage. I also want to know, in the FBI, did they give you a car, or is this like Scully's car?
Well, they're in Baltimore.
Right.
So it's probably Scully's car.
We
will see them throughout the series. I talked about this actually on stage a couple of times while Hrishi and I were playing shows together last year, how Mulder and Scully are just always at the like FBI pick up a car at the local FBI bureau office desk. They're just always picking up a car.
Okay, so
which is, a background detail, but not in this episode.
it's just like such a PI car. There's a PI who lives in my neighborhood, and he has a little PI.
What?
I know. It's really exciting, because all I do is try to investigate this private investigator. I'm like obsessed with this man. He like parks, his car is always either parked on the street or in his driveway. And the other car that belongs to this house is a neon yellow Mustang. This man is like, he looks kind of like, what's his face from Back to the Future?
Doc Brown?
Doc Brown? Yeah. Anyway, his car is like this vibe, and it has like a fucking PI sticker on the back of it. That's all.
It's similar to did the abilities make you a serial killer? Or is it just a matter of convenience? It's like,
Yes.
Do you get the car because that's your job, or because you love that car, does that become your job?
Fucking deep.
Kristin, does Mulder wearing like kind of like a brown sport coat over like a plaid shirt qualify as casual dress for you?
Well, here, let me tell you my literal note on this outfit. It's in all caps, Jenny. And the note is, this outfit on Mulder, do not tell me he is not trying to flirt flannel under a blazer. So I would consider it casual in that it is not like I'm going to work only, but I would consider it intent to flirt.
Great. Mulder thinks this is a dead end because the killer has already like beaten the challenge of getting into this building. But who's that banging around in the air duct? None other than a really clammy looking Eugene Toombs.
Yeah. Mulder thought there's no reason for this guy to return to the scene of the crime, but sometimes you just need to vent.
Oh.
It's like I feel it like a sneeze coming on. You know what I mean? Somebody else's sneeze.
I don't know. I don't know if either of you could have this experience because you've both seen it before, but I was absolutely convinced that this was like a raccoon or something. Like I really at this point in my watch was like, clearly they're going to open it up and it's going to be like this LOL moment where
literally a red herring is going to flop out.
Yeah. So I was like pretty stoked when he just crawled right out. He just came right out. Here he is, Eugene Toombs. She did it.
Yeah. You're like, and we're so early in the episode. How did you already catch the guy?
Oh, and
What are we going to do for the other 30 minutes?
My other X-File is what happened to the cat that was dead in the vents of this office building. Okay. I would like more information.
It was just doing cat stuff. R.I.P. So back at the bureau, it's polygraph time, right? And we learn some things, and we watch Eugene take this polygraph test. We learned that he is an animal control officer, and he's just like acing this test. In fact, the only questions that he doesn't ace are the Mulder inserts. Are you over 100 years old? And were you at Powhatan Mill in 1933? So nobody is convinced by the validity of Mulder's questions, and they release him. Mulder bends over the polygraph test under the lights, and it gives us an incredible view of his, once again, voluminous, glossy hair. It looks so good. And since you're here, Hrishi, I'll just tell the listeners, in case they're not intimately familiar with your glorious head of hair, that you are the person I know in my life whose hair is the most like 1993 David Duchovny.
Wow.
Could I ask for a bigger compliment? I don't think so.
I mean, there couldn't be a better head of hair to be compared to. There.
No. I mean, his is beautiful, and so is yours, and it's an honor and a privilege to be so close to such a glorious mane. I wanted to wait until this episode to share with our listeners a post on Reddit, which is titled "How to Style Your Hair Like Fox Mulder" from the episode The Pilot. So technically, this is about a couple episodes ago, but this is an in-depth, many photos, a long journey that has been chronicled, how often to cut it, how often, how long to let it grow out.
How to get the tasteful little thing of hair.
Oh my God, you did it while you were saying that.
There are literal outline drawings of David's head and hair shapes from all different angles with inch markings of okay, it should be 3 inches long on the top, it should be 2 inches at the side, and here's where it should be 1 inch, and here's the outline of sort of how it's not like a chop, but where your hair comes in front of your ear a little bit. It's extremely detailed, and I thought we could put it in our show notes.
Oh, hell yeah.
I really
For anybody...
appreciate the effort that went into this.
Yeah. Well, people want to have David Duchovny / Hrishkesh Hirway's hair. And who can blame them? And why would anyone stand in the way when they're sitting on, a Smaugian treasure trove of hair knowledge like this?
Okay, so all of this talk of David Duchovny's hotness and the lie detector brings to mind a clip that I recently just rewatched from a few years ago. Are either of you aware of or have seen the Vanity Fair video where they hook up Hasan Minhaj to a lie detector and then they ask him different questions?
No.
Could I play this for you?
Please.
Hell yeah.
When referring to your good looks, this man, Dax Shepard, called you a 9 out of 10. Does it bother you that he didn't call you a 10?
No. I think that he was going way too high.
Do you know how you would rate him?
That's not fair. That's not a fair... Okay, you guys really did your research for this. Because you had to listen to the podcast. I would give Dax... I have to give a number? 6.57.
Harsh. Wow.
Dax is part of a thing where in show business, there's this whole movement of approachable white dudes. Whereas with men of color, it's Idris Elba, Henry Golding, Zayn Malik, or you work in IT. There's no middle. You know how there's a whole class of white dudes of just schlubby dudes who went to high school with me, but now made it in showbiz? There's no that. You gotta have the V-taper in your abs if you're gonna be Asian, and you gotta be like Daniel Day Kim. Have you seen that photo where he flexes his pecs like this and he can hold the pencil? You gotta be Daniel Day Kim ripped. You can't ever have bread or cereal.
So do you think you're better looking than Dax?
Do I think? Yes, I'm looking at Dax, yes. Yes, but I will not get the same opportunities that Dax does. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Dax. I'm really sorry.
Oh my God, incredible.
Anyway, I think about that, and I think about the sort of modern beauty standards that I have to try to live up to. They go way beyond David Duchovny's hair. You know what I'm saying?
Also, I just like, I know to expect only greatness from you, Hrishi, but the fact that we were just engaged in a conversation about a lie detector test and comparing your hair to David Duchovny's, and you were like, I've preloaded this clip that seems kind of relevant, is just, who can compete with this man? Incredible.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm. As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Why wait until Cyber Monday in December to save money on custom window treatments? Save now at Blinds.com's Cyber Summer Sale. Blinds.com invented the better way to shop for premium window coverings, 100% online. Even when you buy multiple window treatments, Blinds.com can handle the measuring and installation for you at one low cost with no hidden fees. Shop the Blinds.com Cyber Summer Sale now and save up to 40% site-wide, plus premium doorbusters. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I hope to never have to take a lie detector test. I'm convinced I would fail every question simply because I would convince myself that no matter what I answered was a lie. You know?
Also, they would call you on being over 100 years old, probably.
Yeah.
As we see here, immediately.
As a person who has never walked through tag detectors leaving a store thinking, I don't have anything on me. I've never thought that one time. Every time I leave a store, I'm like, I hope that I didn't accidentally steal something. I don't want to go to jail.
Have you ever? Did you ever?
Is
that because of an experience that you had where the detector did go off and then you?
No.
You've never once been.
No.
Wow.
I've never been caught.
I've never been.
No, this just naturally populated in my brain because based on, my built-in, burned-in belief that I'm bad, obviously.
So bad that you can steal without even doing it. It can just happen to you.
Totally.
I feel like the ultimate test for you, Jenny, would be to go into one of those like new weird Amazon stores where you don't go to a register at all. You just like take whatever you want and leave.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Just even thinking about it.
I can see it. You would like find employees somehow and be like, is this okay though? If I just go?
Yeah. Yep.
Before we leave the lie detector zone, I just need to give a small shout out to this woman who runs the lie detector, both for her composure.
You love her.
I love her. She's so composed. Her voice is totally different when she's doing the test versus when she's just hanging out with her pals from the FBI. And her suit is unbelievable. It is like this like floral. I just love her. That's all.
Dude, that scarf looking like she got married and told her husband, "You can never see me without the scarf. Don't ask me to take the scarf off. I told you not to ask me to take the scarf off." And then one night he holds a candle. He creeps into her bedroom holding a candle, slowly untying the scarf. And then her decapitated head, which was held on by the scarf, goes rolling across the room. Her eyes fly open and she looks at him and says, "I told you not to ask about the scarf." That's what's going on here.
Also, she has great Sharpie technique. I wanted to give a shout out to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Hrishi, those two little lines that she'd put in between. Oh, my God. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my shit. That is my shit. Mm-hmm.
Mine too.
Yeah.
After they release Tombs, Colton is like all fucking huffy and he's like, "You come in, Scully." And she's like, "Just call me Mrs. Spooky, please." And tells Colton to fuck off. Hell yeah.
Yeah. This guy's insane, he says, literally right in front of Mulder. Like, how are all of these officers just high school bullies? Like, it's just 100% high school bullies.
Actually, can I expand on that quote, Kristin? He says, "You said Mulder was out there. That guy's insane." Colton, you know what else is out there? The truth. Goo 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 ga 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 ga.
Yes. Hell yes.
Oh God, we're here. We're here. The
we
necklace,
come to it at last.
Necklace grab heard round the world. Who wants to talk about it? Who wants to talk about it? Hrishi wants to talk about it.
I wrote Mulder adjusting Scully's necklace, ! With his finger so close to her chest, ! HR.
We often call to check in this podcast feed with HR, but
you'll allow
they're
it.
Best friends. Yeah, I'll allow it.
Well, context.
I know. I'm like, Mulder, I'm wearing a necklace, actually.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's the thing about this necklace grab is that I feel like I understand that it's also a very important item because we need it to connect the whole thing. But Scully wears this necklace so many more times after this happens. It just seems un-Scully-like. I feel like she's like, "Oh, he likes this necklace. I'm going to wear this necklace." And right after this necklace grab is the biggest flirtation we've had to date, in my personal opinion. I give it a
you think after? You don't think this is the biggest flirtation moment?
I think that this could have gone one of two ways. Like, I mean, it was a bold move. Some might say, HR might say, not okay. But the minute they turn and go up the stairs, he's like, before they go up, he's like, "If you want to stay with these guys, I won't hold it against you." And then they start going up the stairs and she's like, "I don't know, you have more to tell me, so I want to see what it is." And then they get significant eye contact. They got it in this moment. Yep. Third episode, second time I've used it. Well, actually third, because they got it twice in the first episode. Significant eye contact.
There is also, I'm just remembering now a moment, because I watched these kind of out of order. I watched this episode and then I went back and started over again. So it's a little jumbled in my mind. But when she disrobes in front of him to show him her chickenpox alien marks, and that's okay, right? Like, there's real medical concern. You got to just sometimes do what you got to do. But then when he says they're mosquito bites, remember what she does? She leans into him. She puts her head on his shoulder. And that has already happened, which makes me also think that, like, maybe this is within bounds of their... That was in the first episode, right?
Yeah. First episode, episode 1.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for it. I'll wait till we get there.
They did not get Jenny's text about no touching.
I would never send that text to them. Mainly because it's 1993. And there are no texts. Flirtations to the side, I do really like what he says to Scully about what they have going on.
Because my whole mind just went blank for a minute. I experienced 9 minutes of lost time.
That's actually what caused it in the first episode. It was just a very, very flirtatious touch.
He says,
In our investigations, you may not always agree with me, but at least you respect the journey.
Hot. Relationships built on respect and necklace touching.
And it's full circle with the him saying you were right. I feel like they really go hard on it in this episode, that these two are pointed in the same direction with different methods of getting there, and they have respect for each other. It's beautiful.
And my favorite moment of Scully flirting with Mulder is actually when she talks to Colton, when she threatens him. Oh, it's so great. Just such a wonderful use of legitimacy as a weapon against this guy. This guy who's sort of trying to hide behind the air of legitimacy and what is allowed and what is right and what is proper and what is, logical. And then Scully uses the structures of the FBI to put this guy in his place and say, oh, you're obstructing another agent's investigation, and I'm going to write you up. And it's just so good. She's using the very language.
Oh, so good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is also the episode where I learned what it looks like when you put fingerprints into a computer at the FBI. This is what it looks like. You can just stretch them out and then maybe they'll fit and they'll be a match and it'll be like beep, 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 beep.
I'm shocked that no one said enhance during this sequence.
Oh, the 100% match is so good. It's so good. Because the program that they use to match fingerprints happens to also have a Photoshop stretch and compress tool built into it. They have both.
Just in case.
You never know.
What if the fingerprint is a close match, but you have to do a little stretchy fingy accommodation? Computer, stretchy fingy enhance.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
Let's take a field trip.
Another liver's down. Liver alone, you know what I mean?
To the house of a man with a Toombs waiting golden-eyed, watching the driveway. Toombs climbs up the exterior brick. I don't know if he's climbing up just the chimney or if the whole house. Yeah, he's climbing up the chimney. It's bricked. My fellow boulderers, what do you think? This is like a V8? A V9? What do we got going on here? I have seen people on TikTok climb brick, but I did not get a sense of what their general climbing level was like. So I'm just wondering, how impressed should I be with Toombs here? Is it paranormal impressed, or is it just a really good
free
advanced
solo
boulderer with incredible finger strength?
Does the scale go up to V10?
Wow, the highest grade of bouldering right now, according to a quick Googling, it goes up to V17, but I've never seen anything above a V10 or V11, I think. All right.
Okay. I just looked at my next note, which is to myself. I need to know more about Toombs, is what I've written down on my notes here.
That does seem good protection preparation.
This is small shout out to this man's 1980s glass art deco door.
What is that door doing inside of a house?
Especially this house. This house has 19
columns,
30, 40s, little door, moldings and stuff. And then all of a sudden this fucking this glass.
One massive frosted glass door decorated with sort of very modern feeling diagonal rectangles and shit between the kitchen and the living room. That's exactly that's the vibe you want between your kitchen and your living room.
This is a very Margot and Todd from Christmas Vacation style of door, you know?
True. This man also has swords on his mantle.
Ooh.
He has 2 samurai swords.
This is his bachelor pad. This guy's single, you know? He's spending all his money on swords and glass doors.
He does have the air of a man whose wife recently left.
Again,
he is drinking his after work whiskey with a very specific vibe of desperation and sorrow.
Once again, I have to ask, is he single because of the swords and the door? Or the door okay.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my favorite Santa from Hell moment is right here. Him smooshing down this chimney. This is my favorite scene in the episode. Love it.
So this is the guy that they hired. This is the shot that we were talking about. They hired this contortionist named Pepper to actually give them some insight on what is possible, and they said that he just did it right in front of them. Like before they even realized, he was just like, zoop. He zooped down the fire tube.
He zooped down the fire tube?
Yes.
Okay, that changes my rating, my scary rating. Like when I thought
that makes it like a 6 out of 5.
Yeah. When I thought it was like smoke and mirrors, I was like 3.5. Now I'm like, get me out of here. I actually don't want to make this podcast anymore. Fuck this.
Yeah. Okay. In the morning, same location. Colton is here to investigate, and he is clearly pitching a little fit. He's very frustrated. When Mulder gets there, we get this awesome shit from Scully that Hrishi referenced. And Mulder's like, oh, what's the matter, Colton? Don't want me in your case? You're afraid I'm going to solve it for you?
How do they, I mean, we won't solve this case, but like, how do they even know anything happened to this guy? Who tipped him off? This guy lives by himself. He's without a liver.
Yeah, no. His wife left.
His wife left. Maybe she came back for her swords. Found him. Yeah. LaToya noted this in her notes, a very nice moment from Scully, which I think aligns with Mulder and Scully being pointed in the same direction. This giant bag of poop is what I refer to him in my notes as in this scene. Says, look, Dana, whose side are you on? And she's like, the victims.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
It's
just good. Burn.
He asked the question, and I was like, what is she going to say? I was like, is she going to say the truth? Is where I was like, is that where she's going to go? And then she said the victims. I was like, no, that's the best answer you could ever give. And of course, that's right. Dana is an A+ student.
Hell yeah.
They see a fingerprint before they leave?
Oh, yeah. And Mulder also notices that something is missing from the mantle. He's just like the shape of something that used to be here.
So, yeah.
He's like, as a bachelor with swords myself, I can deeply profile this person, and I can tell he would have had something right here.
Microfiche o'clock part 1 is my next scene.
That's right.
I had a lot of fun pausing this and taking all my notes on Toombs. Date of birth unknown, never married, dog catcher. He was a dog catcher. This is a 1903 document.
Dude, we're working in 30-year increments, and he apparently works for animal control every 30 years. How long is he not hibernating for? Does he unhibernate, eat 5 livers really quick, and then go back to sleep for 30 years? What kind of life is that?
Yeah,
what's he accomplishing?
You'd think
and how does he keep getting the same job over and over again?
He has to unhibernate for long enough to establish a new identity and residence for them to document.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't you want to like spread it out a little bit?
And why have a job if all you need to survive is like eating livers? Do you think he just really likes doggies?
Yeah, like what? It's just like some self-care, you know? He just like needs to spend some time with innocent animals.
Wants to feel like a productive member of society in between liver hibernations.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a season. Maybe it's like one season, you know, much like bears hibernate every year, but they hibernate for one season. You know, maybe he's around for 3 of the seasons. Then he goes into his bile-nest and comes out 30 years later. He's just got a much longer nestation period.
Nestation.
Oh my God.
That's good. All right. He lives at 103 Exeter Street. Well, he lives at 66 Exeter Street, apartment 103 on this old record from 1903. Cool. Season 1, episode 3. That's fun.
That is fun.
And Scully comes in and she's like, guess what? He didn't live at the address that he gave us. It was a cover and he hasn't shown up for work since he was arrested. So what do, Mulder? Mulder suddenly, like, he doesn't have his glasses on in this moment, but I feel like he should. How do we learn about the present, Scully? We look to the past.
Introducing my favorite character in this whole episode, Frank Briggs.
You're a Briggs guy? Tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy is incredible. I think he's played by an actor named Henry Beckman. And he just feels so real. I mean, for whatever, you know, I love Donal Logue. I think he's great, and I've seen him in so many things, and think he's fantastic. But watching him feels a little bit like I'm watching a guy on a TV show. But when they go to interview Frank Briggs, it feels like something else. It feels like this is not an actor, and they've really found this old detective, and he's just telling them these horror stories. He just, I don't know. I thought this performance was so good and so understated, and lived in, and yeah. I think he's great.
Let's hear a tiny clip from this guy because I think, because I agree. I felt like they didn't have to, I don't know, go as hard with this character as they did, and that it was very enjoyable. This is him describing how he felt when he walked into the room in 1933.
When I walked into that room, my heart went cold. My hands numbed. I could feel it.
Feel what, Frank?
When I first heard about the death camps in 1945, I remembered Powhatan Mill. When I see the Kurds and the Bosnians, that room is there, I tell you. It's like all the horrible acts that humans are capable of somehow gave birth to some kind of human monster.
I just think it's again, yeah, this is really my favorite part of the episode because it lets in something from outside of the world of sci-fi or something. You know, it acknowledges, I know serial killers are a real thing, but just this idea of like, it's, you know, it's the banality of evil making its way into our story here, and like this truly the scariest thing that could be introduced, and just the way that he says it, the horror that he witnessed. I don't know. I believe it all in his delivery.
Yeah, same. And you know, in horror, I mean, I have not had a lot of experience with sci-fi. I mean, clearly way more in the last 6 years or so, but I've loved horror in a lot of forms for a long time. And this idea of like the personification of the evilest that humans are capable of in one being, in one form, is not unfamiliar to me. And I think it's really very powerful.
I promise this will be my last anime reference of this.
Yeah,
episode.
right.
But that also reminds me of the show Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know if you two have watched that show, Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's great. It's a relatively new anime, and I just to tell you a little bit about it because I think it would actually really appeal to Buffy fans too. It's a show about basically kids who have to fight curses, like evil creatures. But the way those curses are created is really fascinating. Let me read this little description here. Curses form from large collections of negative human emotions or energy, making schools and hospitals hotspots because of all the pain and suffering that happens there. And so when there's enough of this like negative energy, they transform into these monsters that are created from human suffering.
Damn. That's
and then they
incredible.
have to fight them.
Yeah.
It's great. Anyway, and that this line made me feel like that was kind of setting up this idea.
Wow. My favorite thing about Detective Frank Briggs is that in his boxes of evidence from the 1933 and 1963 murders is a jar that holds a piece of a removed liver. And I'm wondering, why was this left behind? Wouldn't it have been consumed? Does anyone know why this liver was jarred? Oh, maybe Toombs like picked someone, went to go eat the liver, and then they had, like in The Only Lovers Left Alive, there's this like really awesome piece of vampire mythology that's unique to that film, which is that because people are so unhealthy and like the world is so polluted and stuff, in the modern era, vampires like can't just feed on random people because the blood can be toxic to them. So they like have to like make deals with people who work at hospitals and get like donor blood that's been like tested and, purified and everything. Exactly. So like maybe Toombs took a little nibble of this liver and was like, oh, there's something bad in there. Oh, there's something that's not going to help me out. That's not going to sustain me for the next 30 years. And so instead he was just like, I'll just make a cute little liver jar like I saw in Martha Stewart magazine or whatever.
Maybe he saw it in the movie Only Livers Left Alive.
She walked right into it. She walked right into it. Also, what if like Scully, like what happens to Scully a couple scenes from now just happened to him in one of the 33 or 63 incidences? Like maybe he killed the person, but like somebody was coming in to catch him, and so the liver was left behind. No.
Oh.
Yeah. The biggest thing that this guy has is two pictures, one of Toombs and one of Toombs' apartment.
Yep, Toombs in front of an animal control truck in 1963.
He's like, this is what he would have looked like 30 years ago, though. So you're going to have to take that into account. And they're like wide-eyed.
Yeah, we are taking it into account.
It turns out when your skin is that pliable, you don't need Botox.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Do you think that that's it? It's actually not. It's like supernatural, but only in the fact that he can just pull his own face up every 30 years.
Yeah. It's like something about the regenerative ability. He's so flexible and pliable. There's something about the regenerative quality of his skin and maybe the livers that he eats, since Scully did say that it has regenerative properties.
Hell yeah.
That he is able to stay young and healthy. Also, he's, we all know that sleep is an important part of looking youthful, and he sleeps for 30 years at a time.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow. New health regimen by Toombs.
Sleep for 30 years, wake, eat 5 livers, and repeat.
I was recently...
You will glow.
Oh, I read about this on Goop.
Yeah. Yeah, that is some Gwyneth Paltrow shit. Yeah.
Go to Goop and then just go to the subheading bile and you'll find all of the instructions.
The very particular Goop.
Yeah.
Excited to update our abacus. If you don't know, at bufferandcast.com/abacus, we are keeping track of some things: when Scully is called a medical doctor, when these two use flashlights, every time Mulder does a slideshow, and of course, significant eye contact. We're getting a lot in this episode because guess what? Not only are these flashlights, but this is from the friggin' credits, Jenny. I don't know why I'm saying just Jenny. Hrishi, these both of you here. This is from the credits. It's really exciting.
They look great. You would never guess from how great they look in the credits that they're actually feeling the evil in this moment.
Yeah, the old man was right. You can feel it.
Can you believe when they pull this mattress away from the hole in the wall that Scully is just like, bloop, she just jumps right into the hole.
Love it.
Her flashlight's barely lighting anything up. She's like, I'm just going to go down there first, immediately.
That's some Faith
without
Lane
a moment's
shit.
hesitation.
Yeah, just scoot right into the hole. I like it. I like in this moment, we have it's not like Scully will go first. Scully can handle the bile. Scully, they've given Scully a lot of beats already in 3 episodes that let us know that she can handle her shit, which I think is very cool. And at any point, but especially in 93.
Yeah. Wait till you see what she gets up to in season 2. So it's only going to get better from here.
Right.
Toombs has very thoughtfully just left in a small area so that it's all easily discoverable. 1 trove of murder trophies, including a thing that Mulder immediately clocks as having the same footprint as the dust triangle that was left on the mantle. And, oh boy, a giant bile nest. Imagine the smell of this room. I'm sorry to ask everyone to do this, but I've done it.
No, thank you. This is like paper mache from hell.
Yeah.
Worst arts and crafts project ever.
Oh my God, Mulder. It smells like... I think it's bile.
Is there any way I can get off my fingers quickly without betraying my cool exterior?
The answer is no. There's simply no way to do it quickly without betraying your cool exterior.
Jenny, you got some Jenny as Mulder points in this moment, because all I could think about is you saying, I'm a cool guy, actually. This was Mulder's I'm actually a really cool guy.
Listen, if there's one thing that Mulder and I have in common, it's that we're both cool guys.
If there's one thing that can bust a cool exterior, it's having to have your hands on somebody's hot interior.
Oh, God, Hrishi, I reject this poetry.
No. This I accept. This feels good to me.
We've got hell math here. I'm calling for the jingle. Hell math. 5 livers equals 30 years.
Couldn't you just eat 4 livers and sleep for 24 years? Couldn't he just call it a day?
Yeah, can he do a liver at a time? If he ate 1 liver and went to sleep, then could he sleep for 6 years? Is that the math? It is, right? Yeah.
What could possibly be the biological purpose of a mutation like this?
That's what I'm saying. What are his life goals? I don't understand it. If all he's doing is eating livers and going back to sleep again, does it have...
And collecting cool memorabilia from each of his victims.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you could imagine some evolutionary trait that says, do this and you'll live super long. I mean, he has done that. If the goal of evolution is to survive, I mean, we haven't gotten to the reproduction part of it. Maybe that's another episode. Oh, God. But, but I guess it's you're somehow your body's found a way to outlive everybody else at some basic level of evolution. That seems like a win.
Maybe he got a bum deal. You know how dark forces like to do trickery deals where they're like, I'll let you live forever and all you need to do is this thing. I guess I should save that for Kristin's
butt
crystal
implants.
ball, but yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was the bum deal you were referring to.
God damn it! But maybe he thought he was signing up for living forever, and then he didn't read the fine print. Maybe he doesn't want this either.
Wow, I like that take.
Yeah, that is interesting. But you know what he does want? Scully's long necklace.
Oh, I'm just snagged on something here.
Okay, that got a 5 out of 5 fucking ripped out livers that moment too. Fucking nope.
Yeah.
Also, do you think that he got her necklace but also her flashlight? Because as the camera pans up, he's just illuminated. So in my
This is what I was wondering. Wherever he goes, he manages to find a way to stand where just his eyes are lit up. How does he do it? Maybe he's born with it, you know.
Maybe it's livers.
Okay, could I just jump ahead real quick for 1 second? Because related to this, there's a scene later when Mulder pulls up in his car in an alley. And the alley is lit, to me, in a very particular and strange way, where it's like a reddish orange light and some green lights in the background behind his car. And to me, I felt like they were trying to emulate that image of Toombs, you know, when you see just the face and the eyes and it's that red and that green, that they were trying to evoke that in the lighting behind Mulder's car. I posited this to Lindsay and she immediately dismissed it.
I love it.
I want to believe.
Yes. Ooh,
Well,
I also want to believe.
Since you mentioned this, Hrishi, I don't have an answer for you, but I do want to note that this episode was plagued with production problems due to creative differences seemingly between everyone on the X-Files team and the director, Henry Longstreet. He was basically fired because he made the episode, but like didn't shoot coverage, left out entire scenes, was just like, I don't want to do those scenes, didn't film them. And James Wong and Michael Cattleman had to go back in, reshoot things that were missing, and also add a bunch of filler, like all of the microfiche scrolling montages and whatnot. I feel like if that alley was shot by under the supervision of Wong and Cattleman, then yes. And if it wasn't, I have my doubts.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a perfect example of where they would fill something in and do it really beautifully. Because when I read, LaToya left a lot of notes on this in the production document, and I was floored because when I watched this episode, I was like, I think this is the most beautiful, beautifully shot episode of the 3 so far. And so to learn that a lot of that was because they had to like go back and sort of fill things in was very cool.
I know your listeners are very sophisticated TV watchers, but is it worth defining coverage?
Yes.
Oh, would you please?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Hrishi, you do it.
Hell yeah.
You know, coverage is just a matter of shooting a scene multiple times. So you have not just takes of the main actors, but you have the different angles that you might need. But it also refers to other things that you might want to cut away to. You need the coverage when you're in editing. So if you cut across from one take to another take, you can do it smoothly by cutting to something else, like somebody's hands or their feet or a thing in the room. All these other sort of details that help fill out the visual picture while also giving the editors tools to put the story together seamlessly.
I'm so glad that we had you do that.
Yeah.
That was way better than I could have done it.
And apparently the original director didn't get any of that stuff. And it's very hard to make an episode when you don't have those tools.
I'm so confused about why that would be the case.
It sounds like another X-File, actually. This is not important, but before we move along, I just saw one of my notes for this scene that we just talked about, which is creepy little freak bat took her necklace. So just wanted to put that into the universe. I didn't want to hold it alone. Outside 66 Exeter, so producer LaToya Ferguson said, Hey, you guys are a lot older than me, so maybe you have the intel on this. Was it a like sick burn for somebody to call you spooky in the 90s? Because it seems like it is like the meanest thing that these guys can say to Mulder.
So far as I know, this is only effective in this exact scenario.
Yeah. This is in universe only.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they take over surveillance, but then they are immediately called off. So Toombs is unsurveilled.
And he uses the opportunity to take a little field trip over to Scully's house, where she is doing the only thing she can ever do to feel better when she's working on a frustrating case. She runs a bath, baby. Is this a good time for me to tell you that Scully and I have the same bathtub?
Oh, my God. Do you take this many? Do you take 2 baths per every 3 episodes? Because it's a lot of baths.
Yes, I actually do. And, you know, a soak has regenerative properties of its own.
My fear, the scariest thing in this episode to me, honestly, is that Scully may never be able to associate her peaceful bath time with.
Yeah, she never actually gets to take a bath. She just tries to take a bath, and then something bad happens.
She has mosquito bites. She's almost delivered. Like, yeah.
Thankfully, while Toombs is clawing around outside the window at that exact time, Mulder is busy recognizing Scully's necklace on the trophy altar over at 66 Exeter and is like, I gotta get over there.
Very convenient that in this kill, Toombs was like, I'm going to get the gifty first and then do the liver snatch. Yeah.
Hrishi, has this ever happened to you? You're stoked that you're running a bath. You're like maybe in your robe, getting prepped. The steam is rising. You can feel your pores opening. The scent of your bath salts are like rising in the air. You're like, I cannot wait to relax. You're opening a bottle of some product to enhance your bathing experience when someone's bile drips onto you from the ceiling.
If I had $1 for every time. I mean, that is my bath time routine to a T. Run the bath, get undressed, comfy robe, open product, get dripped on by bile. I read about it on Google.
You got to earn the bath by walking through the bile.
Okay, so she runs to get her gun, the best defense against bile, in my opinion. And we see that her phone line is cut. Mulder's calling her from the car. I meant to look up like when the car phone was invented, because it seems like he's got to be right on the cutting edge of having a phone in his car.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think my dad had a car phone in the early 90s.
Okay.
Because he had like a job that required him
Was your dad in the FBI?
No, my dad was not in the FBI.
You told me he was a peach
farmer. The first mobile phone service for 80-pound telephones installed in cars was demonstrated on June 17th, 1946.
That's what I'm talking about.
What? Wow. It was just like a really
80
long
pounds.
curly cord. You could only drive as long as the cord would go. All right, so this is when Hrishi has to cover his eyes with all 5 of his fingies because Toombs is about
stretch them out as far as they can go.
Yeah, wrap them around your head a couple of times, Hrishi.
Yeah.
Toombs pushes the fucking vent off and grabs Scully by the ankle. This is some horror shit. I am here for it. Mulder's like screeching around the corner, has to save his beloved Scully. And then Toombs jumps out of the vent. This was really interesting to me because when I watched it on regular speed, you know, just like a person watches TV, I was like, whoa, this like effect seems so cool. Like, what did they do? And so then I like paused it a bunch of times and it was just a man coming out of a vent. So I don't know how they edited it or like what they did to the speed of it, but it worked for me. I don't know.
I think this goes back to what we were saying about the direction a little bit. One of the comments that Morgan and Wong made about the production of this episode was that they thought part of the reason why they weren't satisfied with it was because nobody had done horror on TV in so long that people basically forgot how to do it well. And I'm wondering like what it would take for them to think like, oh, we nailed it on the scene. Because like I said, I jumped out of my seat when this happened.
Least favorite thing in the episode is the thing that Toombs does with his hand right before going in for a liver.
Making his little sword hand.
Oh, God.
Making his hand as pointy as it gets.
I hate it. Thankfully, Mulder runs in and he goes to run. Toombs goes to like run and jump out this window. And Scully, totally unfazed, gets up, grabs him. And then Mulder handcuffs him, ? Said by everyone here in the room.
Here's a little bit of background, too, about the origins of this this killer. The guys were working at the writer's room, the X-Files offices, and looking at this ventilation shaft. And Morgan said to Wong, what if we were working here late at night and some guy came through that thing? And then they took some inspiration from I don't know if you two remember Richard Ramirez, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, who was a serial killer from our childhood. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 1989, but he was the Night Stalker, and he was part of the, part of the inspiration for the character of Toombs.
I love the idea of a writer's room where you're just trying to scare the shit out of everyone else in the room. Like, that's the goal. Fuck.
So we visit one more time with Detective Briggs, who's leafing through the newspaper and comes across a familiar face under the headline, Suspect Caught in Serial Killings. And then across town, we imagine Toombs himself is shredding that very same newspaper, licking it and throwing it across the room towards an already well underway nest. What kind of hospital would allow this sort of like bile-mache accumulation? It doesn't seem sanitary. It seems like the opposite of sanitary.
It also
Is this a hospital?
It just read visually to me like a psychiatric institution of some
that
kind.
makes sense because I wrote it down as that he was in jail, but then it makes way more sense if it's a psychiatric facility because the like people that come in to bring the food and stuff are wearing like all white, which feels like a very
feels kind of medical.
Yeah. This is Arkham Asylum, basically.
Yes, correct.
It's both prison hospital. It's both psychiatric hospital and jail.
Yes.
At the same time.
You can have it all at Arkham.
Including maybe your own supply of
newspapers?
bile-nest newspaper.
Scully ordered genetic tests and found that his muscular and skeletal systems were abnormal and that he has a continually declining metabolic rate.
And you would think Mulder would be so hopped up about this, but he's just too bummed.
Yeah. He's sad about evil in the world. And, the only way to cheer up somebody who's sad about evil in the world is to take your palm and move it sexily up their forearm as a means of comfort. That's what she does, and I lost my fucking mind. Significant. I don't have a jingle for significant arm touch, but if I did, I would be playing it here. So yeah, I just think that this is a beautiful last shot, like beautiful meaning terrifying and creepy and scary. Just him looking at what I apparently call the meal hole. I don't know if there's a better
what I call my mouth.
My meal hole. Oh my god. And the score is really interesting. I don't know if you know what it's like a chanting. There's like a chanting happening in the last bits of the score, or at least that's how it sounded to me. But I couldn't there were no captions to say what they were chanting, and I couldn't make it out. So I don't know.
Oh, it was truly terrifying. And I guess like this is a trope of any good scary thing, and maybe any kind of good mysterious thing too, is that like you leave the door open at the end for the possibility of like further scariness, or that like that things aren't tied up in a nice neat bow.
Yeah, you leave the meal hole open at the end. Is that what you're saying, Hrishi?
Yeah. I like the trope in rom-coms too, where like they're like having a meal and someone's like, oh, you got a little something, just a little there next to your meal hole. Let me just wipe it off.
A meal hole cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny's leaving.
I gotta go.
Jenny's out of here.
What if they named this episode Meet Cute, but MEAT?
How can we all feel at this point in discussing this episode, if not horny? Let's take it to the STAs.
Oh, wow. We're going right into the STAs. Hit it, bitch.
Sexual Attention Award.
Well, once again, we return for another installment of the Sexual Attention Awards, which we have carried over from buffering into the X-Files. We've got 4 slots. We've got 8 noms paired together for your voting pleasure. Here they are. In slot number 1, you'll never believe who's in slot number 1. They have looked. They have touched. They have hung out in cars. They have fingered necklaces. Oh. They have stroked forearms. It is a whole fucking thing. It's Mulder and Scully, please. I wonder if anyone will ever win besides Mulder and Scully.
I know, honestly. If anyone does win besides the two of them, I think they just win the whole thing, you know?
Yeah. In slot number 2, it's literally no one's favorite. It's actually everyone's least favorite. A man who just wants to get higher and higher and higher, if at all possible. It's Tom Colton and his very favorite partner, the ladder? ? The ladder. In slot number 3, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, especially when the eye is, gold and creepy and over 100 years old, and especially when the item of beauty is a small trinket of some kind that brings to mind that one time you ate that one liver that sustained your life for 6 of the next 30 years of hibernation. It's Toombs and his little gifties that he collects along the way. And in slot number 4, I'm trying to find a very cool and casual way to just bring up the concept of wetness. But hey, it's Scully and the bath. It's Scully and the bath. She just wants to be in its warm embrace forever and always. And they basically have kind of like a star-crossed lovers sort of thing going on. Will they ever? Will they? Won't they? Scully and the bath. Yeah. That's the real question of the X-Files.
She's just a girl with a cool exterior asking a bath with a hot interior if she can get inside it.
So if you care, and I think that you do, please vote. Please make your voice heard in our little micro-democracy. You can find the Sexual Tension Award poll over on our Twitter at BufferingCast. Go vote, go vote, go vote.
Sexual Attention Award.
Okay, Hrishi, the last thing we do before we wrap it up is we ask Kristin to peer into her crystal ball as someone who's never seen anything else that happens in the X-Files and try to predict what might be next. Kristin, where are we headed?
Kristin's crystal ball, she can see it all. What's coming down the pike, I'm sure she'll get it right.
Thank you so much for asking me and my crystal ball. I would like to say that on a macro level, I still am holding out hope for Bellflower, Oregon.
Okay.
On a micro level, I took a lot of notes about Toombs. And what I realized, in all seriousness, is that I have no idea what kind of monster shit this show is going to get up to. Like, in my mind, the monsters in X-Files were not going to be like the monsters in Buffy. Like, I think that I just view the X-Files as having a certain kind of seriousness to its monsters that, like, most of the Buffy monsters don't have. So I'm not sure, but I took a lot of notes on Toombs. His eyes change color. He builds nests. He has weird black and white vision, ? He eats livers. He works in animal control. He growls. He can lie, and I'm most interested in this fact because even though he didn't score well on 2 of the questions, he said he never ate a liver, and he said he never killed a person. So is it that it's Toombs the man and then the thing that lives inside of Toombs, and that's why Toombs the man, because his eyes aren't orange when he's taking the lie detector test.
Ooh,
He can
Kristin.
He can scale walls and he can squeeze. He can do the titular squeeze whenever he wants.
Oh, wow. Wow. HR, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna back that.
Reminder not to let Kristin get close to my necklace.
Oh my God, Hrishi, I would be so pleased if every time I saw you forever, you were just wearing a long, dangly silver necklace. So I like the place that my mind went to, apart from my, hypothesis that it's Toombs the man and then whatever is inside of Toombs, is that it has to have something to do with like animals, the like predator of it all. And so I started to do some I don't know how it happened, but here's my wild theory, why people come here, not for the truth, but for the wild theories, is that Toombs in 1903, he's like 30 years old, right? Because maybe but we think 1903 is the first one. He's working in animal control. Something happens. Something like, I don't know, don't things happen to superheroes all the time where they like bump up against something and then it makes them radioactive and they can turn into an ant or whatever. You know what I mean? Isn't that a thing?
I love
that's
that
always
one.
happening
It's
to
like,
superheroes.
Man, he bumped up into this thing and got the superpower.
So I looked up house bats and also owls. Those are my first 2 guesses, that something related to a bat or an owl was involved in this. And that's why Toombs is, his eyes do his thing and he has to hibernate in a little nest. But I didn't come up with any really good theories because house bats don't eat livers, they eat insects. So it can't be a house bat. And owls don't hibernate, bats do. So I just haven't whittled it down yet, but I'm going to be trying to figure out what kind of animal Toombs came into contact with in 1903 that...
Why not a bat owl?
Oh, or an owl bat.
Or maybe it's pronounced batowl.
So I don't know. Those are some of my theories. Do you have any other questions for me? Any things that you would like to know about my predictions?
I'd like to know, how often do you imagine we'll get Monster of the Week episodes versus Myth Arc episodes?
Well, I will say that I feel like it won't be super guessy of me based on like things I've seen here and there. But also the last time I thought that I knew something, I said that Deep Throat was like maybe going to be in one episode and Jenny laughed me off the screen. So who knows? But
I just wanted to get down your exact prediction. So I was repeating it back to you. That's all.
I get the sense that it might be close to an equal balance of Myth Arc and Monster of the Week. And I hope that I really like this. If this is an example of what a Monster of the Week episode is, I really hope that we get a lot of them, because I got all of what I wanted to get from Scully and Mulder, which is that's the Myth Arc I care about. Like, that's the one that I'm following.
Right.
And it also was just really fun to like dive into what other supernatural things can look like on the show and stuff like that.
Great.
Okay. So to recap, the next time we see Toombs, his origin story of being a radioactive liver-eating bat owl or batowl will be revealed. Okay, incredible.
And Jenny, didn't you say that wasn't there a man bat or something on my quiz that you gave me in episode 0?
There
That's
was,
true.
but that was that was a superhero, or that was a comic book.
It was a comic book film. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great though, because if it was a Monster of the Week, then I would say my theory is dead in the water. You know what I mean? If there's already a man bat, there can't be another man bat.
Right.
Do you have any predictions? I'm just curious, Kristin. Do you know who Man Bat was? An enemy of
Batman.
Good. Just
Nailed
checking.
it.
Oh, no. I mean, I didn't know that. That was just me being really smart. I deserve credit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
You did
I
it.
would say, I mean, and feel free to argue with me, but if I were to say what the status of this X-File is now, I would say the status of this X-File is bile drenched.
Oh, Jenny, I would like to argue with you. That's disgusting.
I would say that this X-File is closed except for the little meal hole opening.
Yes. I was really hoping the meal hole would get worked in. Thank you, Hrishi. Hrishi, you can stay forever.
Hrishkesh Hirway, my actual best friend, my very best friend in the world, and Kristin's good friend. Thank you so much.
That's true.
For joining us. Our very first guest, and I wouldn't have it any other way. What an honor and a privilege and a joy always to be near you. Where can the good people, if somehow they don't already know, where can they find you and the things that you do and what you're about?
They can find me, I guess I have a website. It's hrishkesh.co. It's a good reminder for me to dust that thing off and make sure it's updated. But it has links to my music, much of which was written with Jenny Owen Youngs.
Yes.
And the podcasts that I make or have made, I make the podcast Song Exploder. You can listen to me on that. And otherwise, I don't know, I'm on social media at probably leaving comments in reply to Jenny and Kristin all the time.
Wait, Hrishi, are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok.
Hrishi's too sophisticated for TikTok.
I just was dragged it to TikTok, like kicking and screaming. So I wanted to know if I had an ally in you, and it seems I do.
Yeah.
We are not too sophisticated for TikTok.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't made a full-length record in the last decade, but I'm working on it. And there might be a day where I'm forced to be on TikTok because apparently that's what you have to do if you want to have a music career now.
Yep.
Happens to the best of us. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, and when I'm not watching The X-Files or Buffy, I'm usually making music. In fact, last week I released the first single from my upcoming instrumental album. The song is called Sunrise Mountain. You can stream it in all the streamy places. I made it collaboratively with our editor supreme, John Mark Nelson, who's also an amazing musician. That song's out now. The album From the Forest Floor will be out May 5th and also features a collaboration with Hrishkesh Hirway. No big deal.
Oh my God. So you're saying that you collaborated with everyone involved
Except
with the
you.
podcast except for me.
Well, Kristin, think of a format where there's no talking and then think of yourself. These are two circles that never touch.
I see. So I was the muse. I get it. No, that's great.
Okay.
I just want to say I have heard this song and it is really fucking beautiful. It's also really different than anything you've ever done, Jenny, and I think it rules. So congrats, and I'll be playing it on repeat.
Oh, thank you so much. You can give me a shout if you want to weigh in on this song or pictures of my dog. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at Jenny Owen Youngs.
I'm Kristin Russo, notably not featured on the upcoming album from Jenny Owen Youngs and Friends, but you can find me on social media and on my website at KristinNoeline.com. That's KristinNoeline. I do a lot of work when I'm not watching Buffy and the X-Files with the LGBTQ plus community. Specifically, I do a lot of talks at workplaces, helping folks to be better to LGBTQ plus folks in their workplaces, as well as talking to parents at those workplaces and caregivers about how to be supportive adults to the LGBTQ plus folks in their life. Something always important, but these days, increasingly so. So find me. Also, I am open if you want to create an album of instrumental music.
Jenny's not invited. Buffering, a rewatch adventure, is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at BufferingCast. We're also now on TikTok at BufferingCast, much to Kristin's chagrin. And you could drop us an email at hello@bufferingcast.com.
Yes, support us as always. We've got new fun items in the merch store, designs by Devan Power. We have a Patreon that is always bumping. We've got Buzz Thursdays are going strong, where we rewatch last week's episode of Yellow Jackets before the newest episode comes out. Are your stomachs growling? Join us. Bufferingcast.com. You can find out all of those things and more.
This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and LaToya Ferguson, with support from our consultant, Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by John Mark Nelson. Thanks again to special guest, Hrishkesh Hirway.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled for this podcast. I'm so thrilled that I got to pick what episode I got to be on, and this was just such a delight. Thanks, as always.
Hrishi.
The pleasure is ours.
Truly.
And till next time,
the
pod is out there.
Tombs coming. Was that? I'll give you a couple more. Tombs coming. Tombs coming. That one got a little grainy. Tombs coming. There you go.
Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich.
When I saw the first race, I was like, giddy.
Actor Ewan Ryan.
For an actor, that's a dream. Although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
And so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.